Hello crafty friends, it's Jessica here and welcome back to Jessie Kate Creates. Today's video is a fun one because I have a twofer for you guys. So I have two cards today that I created using items from the new Simon Hurley collection with Spellbinders called Sky's the Limit. So I got sent two items to create with from Spellbinders. Thank you, Spellbinders. And that was the Up and Away die set, which cuts out these kids and this adorable little kite, and also the Fly a Kite stamp set. I'm sorry I don't have the art that comes with this one, but it creates three different really fun kites. So I wanted to start with this Up and Away die set. I was super excited for it because I think the little kids in this set are just so adorable. And the dies come with the different ways that you can like customize the hair on the kids, and you can put them in like a top and shorts or a dress, or this could just be a long shirt. Just a lot of fun things you could do to customize this, also with the way you color everything. So I was really excited to play with this. And when I pulled it out, well, actually, let me show you the card first and then we'll get into it. So drum roll please. Here is the card. I had so much fun making this, you guys, and I was really happy with how it came out. As you can see, this card is pretty much all die cutting. So I started out by die cutting out the cute little kids. They were adorable. For this, I used all ColorWheel cardstock. For the kids, I used the color Cinnamon. And for the little girl, I knew I wanted to put her in purple. And so I used Fairy Tale, Lavender, and Lilac. And then for the little boy, I put him in Rainforest, and I believe his pants are Celestial. I was really happy with how that looked. There are the tiniest little dies that cut out their little cheeks and a little background for their mouth, and for that I just used Chiffon, which is a super light pink cardstock. And that was the little kids. I thought they were so cute. I did add some highlights to them, and at first I wasn't sure if I liked it, but now I'm really happy I did because I think it's super cute. To add a little extra sparkle to the kids, I don't think the camera is picking it up very well, unfortunately, but I did put some sparkle on their stars and on her bow in her hair. I was really happy with how those came out. And then I went on to make the kites. I wanted this card to have very much like it's a fresh spring day kind of a feel to it. So initially, this actually is the kite that I made, and then I decided it wasn't quite bright and springy enough, so I switched out the colors, and I'm really happy with how these two kites ended up. Again, I did go ahead and put little highlights on them with a white gel pen, and I wanted to keep the background of this card really simple, so I just did some embossing on cardstock. So for the grass, I picked two different shades of green. I believed I used Rainforest and Fern. And I ran both pieces through an embossing folder. I just picked this diamond plaid folder from Spellbinders, which just gives a really subtle geometric diamond background, which I thought added some interest, but was still, you know, not too overwhelming. Hey, it's Editing Jessica here, and I needed to pop in because I forgot to mention that I did do a little bit of ink blending to the hills. So to cut them out, I just used a pair of scissors and tried to cut a hill shape. And then so that there would be the look of dimension without actually adding dimension, I just did a little bit of ink blending to the upper edge of each hill with an ink that was a similar color. I think I happened to use Concord and Ninth Sprout for the lighter green and Parsley for the darker green. And for the sky, I used the Spellbinders Scallops embossing folder. And I was really happy with how that looked. The final thing I needed to add to this card was a sentiment. And y'all, right now I think I'm just having a little bit of a love affair with this die set. This is the Spellbinders Space Greetings dies. And I think I'm using it so much for two reasons. One, it just has some really good basic sentiments like happy birthday, greetings, love you, and I can use those for any card. But also I've been keeping it out on my desk, and sometimes when an item is on my desk, I'm just more likely to reach for it because it's right there. I don't have to go dig through my stash. So yeah, I've just been enjoying using this lately. So for the sentiment, I cut Love You out of the silver mirror cardstock, and for the backer I just used white. Since this card did have a lot of like dimension just with all the layers of the cardstock, I decided to keep the hills and the kids flat, but I did pop up the kite, one of the kites on foam tape. You can see one is flat, but this one is popped up. And I did pop up the whole panel on some foam tape as well. So you can see there is a little bit of dimension to this card, but there is not a ton. Now for the inside of the card, when I was making this card, I was thinking this could be a birthday card, it could be a Mother's Day card or a Father's Day card. So for the inside sentiment, I went with nothing makes me happier than the time we spend together. And that is from the Spellbinders Fair Winds Sentiment stamp set. I just think it's a really pretty sentiment, and I think it would fit all of those different occasions. And to decorate the inside, I did a little bit of ink blending at the top of the panel. And in this Up and Away die set, it cuts out the backer to the kite, but it also cuts out each of the little triangles to go inside. I just cut out one of the backers and just used some scratch paper to kind of like block off the section, and then I ink blended it, and I did the same thing for that bottom. And when I was cutting out all of the elements for the front of the card, there's a die that cuts out the little like stars and hearts and pockets that you could put on the clothing, and I cut it out of green and purple, so I had an extra green and purple heart. So I decided, since the kite was purple, I'd make the little heart on it green. And I thought that was a fun way to tie the front and the inside of the card together. So there we have it. That's card number 1. For card number 2, I was using the Fly a Kite die set. Now I wanted to give myself a challenge just to spark my creativity. So I told myself, since card number 1 was a scene card, I couldn't do a scene card with this second set, which was difficult at first because, I mean, they're kites. You want to make a scene where they're like flying out in the wind or something like that. So I started just by playing around with different colors. I die cut all of the pieces from a bunch of different colors, pieced different things together to figure out what I liked. But ultimately, let me show you the card so you can see what I went with. Ta-da! Once again, I decided to go with some fun, but very like spring-like colors. So I used coral, saffron, breeze, and peridot, which I think this peridot is quickly becoming one of my favorite colors. But in this die set, you can cut out the backers for each of the kites and then the elements that you can use to decorate inside the kites. So for this diamond kite, I cut out all the triangles from each of the 4 different colors, and I just paired them together for each kite. So they all use the same colors, just in a different order. For the strings on the kite, I cut them out of gold cardstock. And also in the die set, it has all these different bits and pieces that you can use as like tails and decorations for your kite. And I cut all of those out of vellum because y'all know I love me that gold vellum 1-2 combo. I just think it looks so pretty together. So I cut all of the tails for the kites out of vellum, and I really liked the way that looked. For the sentiment on this card, once again, y'all already know I used the Space Greetings die set, and I just went with birthday greetings. I cut that out of the same gold mirror cardstock to match the tails of the kites. For the background on this card, I wanted to keep it super simple, so I just used some alabaster cardstock. I thought about embossing this background. I really wanted to run it through an embossing folder, but I was like, no, challenge yourself to do something a little bit different than what you normally do. So I just left the background plain, but I think it turned out really pretty, even with that plain background. And the final touch to these cards was to add a couple of gems. For that, I used what y'all already know are my absolute favorites, the Spellbinders Opal Color Essential Gems. And I put a gem in the center of each kite, and then I also scattered a couple gems around the sentiment. I'm really happy with how that turned out. For the inside of this card, I just made another kite and stuck it on the inside, and I thought that was pretty. And there's space to, you know, write your own sentiment inside the card. So I was really happy with how both of these cards turned out. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention it earlier, but for this card, I put little dots in the center of the kite and on her bow. And for those ones, I used the crystal mix gems. So there we have it. Those are the two cards. I like how both of these turned out, and they were super fun to make. If you liked this video, please, please, please do me a favor, give it a thumbs up. That helps me so much with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps other people to find me and join our crafty creative community here. And if you want to see all the videos that I put out, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell so that you can get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye!